Next, big concept. Oh man, this is big for you. Look, if you are the man standing right here, and this is the summit of the mountain up here, can you see the mountain? The peak?
No.
From there. I know it's a faraway drawing, so you guys in the, I'll ask you guys in the front. Can you see the peak? No. So, what peak can you see? That one, right? So, what do? You climb it! So the little man goes up the hill. And that, even being a smaller peak, might still be a challenging one, right? So you get up here. And then what happens? You go, what's that thing? What? You gotta be kidding me. Do you know how high I just climbed right there? But see, here's the thing, right? Do you just get, are you Super Mario?
No.
You remember Luigi in Mario Brothers 2? He had the big jump.
I will be after the seminar.
After the seminar, Super Mario. All right, thank you. Look, okay? The one, right? Okay, look. Do you guys remember Luigi in Mario Brothers 2? He could do the big hop, but you can't do the big hop, okay? Do you get to just float on up from here? Unless maybe you took that pixie dust, right? Okay? You don't get to float there. See, you gotta go, you want to get to this peak, you gotta go back down. So now, look at what you did. You spent this much work going up, then you got to go back down like that. You've got to like undo all the work that you did just to be allowed to slowly, painfully, inch by inch, crawl back up to the top. Aye! All right? That was me. When I had a method of how to be successful with women, I went to this peak. I said, how high can I get using this way of doing things? These beliefs, this style, this reality. And when I slowly started to realize that I could become a natural, right? When you slowly start to realize you could become a natural, you don't just get to keep going. It's not like that. You got to go back down. You know why? I had every pickup line and tactic in the book. And when I'd be talking to a girl, they'd all want to come out, right? So first I had to just chill out for a while and just get used to talking to people again. Just get used to interacting normally without becoming a frame control addict. Needing to control the energy, the flow of the situation all the time to keep myself in state. Like I actually had to teach myself that. Like, think about this. What happened was, I had learned to get into state by controlling the social feedback. In order to become a natural, what you essentially have to do is learn how to just chill with a regular person and just enjoy the way you feel, right? To have like that nimbus when you're not framed. Like, can you experience the nimbus? Can you have the nimbus just sitting there and letting somebody else talk, right? See? But when you're a newbie coming from nothing, like what I was and like what some of you guys are, maybe a lot of you guys are, you're not used to just feeling good about yourself. But when you can go out and use different techniques to get responses, to feel good about yourself, why would you stop? The only solution is, give me more. Right? Because isn't that the funny thing? When you learn pickup lines and stuff, you can hold attention for a bit. When it stops working, do you say, I need to develop core confidence? No, you go, more lines. Right? It's only natural. When I use the lines, it works, so I need more of those, clearly. Right? Thinking that you can somehow, entertain the girl, like, here, come to the bedroom. Right? Let's go. Okay? So you got to go back down. Then you start the way back up. That is what it's like for a lot of people. Okay? Say that you have a concept of who you are, a reality of who you are. You say, I'm a cool guy. Remember Linda from 5 years ago? I saw her, I wanted her, I got her. To actually start becoming successful with women, you've got to start to realize maybe you're not what you thought you were. You've got to humble yourself. And humbling yourself means going back down. And that's not so easy for a lot of people because there's too many ramifications. Your mind does not really want to do it, all right? So even if you gain sight of that higher peak, oh man, too many stepping stones, your mind doesn't want to do it. Your mind is inherently a lazy mind. That's if you haven't developed it. On the first day, we spoke about how when an astronaut goes into space, when he comes back, his bones have lost density. It's not even that your mind's a lazy mind, it's that your mind is trying to conserve energy. So you have to snap your mind into it. Things like reading books, for example. Look, has anyone here ever gone a couple years without reading books for a little while, and for a part of their life? Gone a few years not reading books. I bet you even more of you than that, right? Really? Everyone's gone at some point a couple years without reading big books and stuff. So when you go back to reading, what keeps happening? I have a buddy who hadn't read in a long time, and I said, here, you should read this while we're on a boat. And he's like, and he starts to read, and he's like, I think I'm falling asleep. You ever do that? Yeah. You start to read something that you don't, it's just too complicated, whatever, and you just feel like, you just realize, you're like, damn, I think I'm more tired than I thought, right? I just need to just close my eyes for a minute, just to get a little bit more energy, and then I can read this later, right? And then you start to read it later, and you do the same thing. Maybe you've done that if you have an essay due for school, okay? Suddenly, whereas normally, you stay up late playing video games, but tonight you just really need your sleep. All right? Okay? So your mind, when not given the opportunity to blossom, will do that. Now how about when you're reading a lot? You're just educating yourself. What happens then to your mind?
Then your mind won't go to sleep. You're like,
if anything,
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Shut the hell up. Yeah, get 2 in the morning, you're writing.
Like, have you guys ever also reached a point where you're gathering so much knowledge that your mind hungers for knowledge?
Yeah.
You just love it, right? Your mind is hungering for knowledge. And that's an amazing thing. To me, that's like human potentiality at its finest. So I think that, you wake your mind up, you force your mind to work through the complexities of a new set of beliefs. But look, this is one of the freakiest and hardest to believe with barriers that you will ever encounter. Reordering perception to preserve the map. Now look, let me tell you, even if your life sucks, does your mind care? From an evolutionary perspective, does your mind care if you hate your life?
No.
Are you going to die if you just don't really like your life?
No.
So it doesn't matter, does it? It's the same way. You know how women might date like a jerk guy, and maybe he like drives her nuts, but as long as he has high value, all that evolution cares about is that she gets like that right seed? It's the same thing for you. Even if you don't like your life. Look, say that this is a really common frustration in self-development in general. You know that you're capable of so much more. Let's say that you live in like some suburb, and you maybe have a vision for yourself. Maybe your vision is, I want to move to downtown Manhattan, wherever it is, right? I want to move to downtown Manhattan. I want to get the kind of job that I really dream about. I want to start going out socializing with people, meeting girls. I want to get good with girls. I want to get an amazing girlfriend, and I want to be happy with my life. Sounds great, huh? Yeah. Sounds awesome. But you know what? You're already living in a reality where you're getting by, right? You might not be thriving, but you're getting by. And so your body says, no, it's fine. This is okay. Imagine it like a plant, all right? Think of a plant. If the plant, because we're a lot like that, if the plant has found a source of nutrition and water, like, okay, here's some dirt, and there's some water here. It might not be the best dirt in the world. It might not be the best, the most water to grow into what I'm capable of as a plant, but it's there. Who wants to uproot yourself and go looking around and risk the possibility of not finding what you hope for? Right? So most people don't want to do that. There's so much that is involved in this. Look, take a wolf pack. If you have a wolf pack, which wolf do you want to be?
Alpha.
The alpha wolf, right? Everyone says the alpha wolf. Being the alpha male, is it just kind of like everyone loves you and the girls come and let you reproduce with them and everything's hunky-dory?
No.
Right?
Are you responsible for the survival of the whole pack?
Do you have to expend a lot of energy? Yeah, you got to. For an alpha male wolf, if someone else steps up, he's got to show that he's still the alpha, right? What is that like with people?
Conflict.
Haters. Conflict and haters. You guys ever heard of a hater?
Yeah.
What they call that being in hip hop? They call that being a player hater, right? You guys ever heard of a player hater? What is that? What's a hater?
Somebody who's unhappy with their level of success. So they see somebody else doing better, and they're like, "Oh, that's cheesy as hell, man.
Yeah.
I don't like what you're doing. It's not real, whatever."
Do you guys ever read the articles where people will be talking about the dating community, and you can tell that just total haterism? It's because that guy is living with some woman that he just totally was never in love with in the first place. He settled with her, right? He hasn't actually had any good sex in over a decade, and he's like, oh, look at this community, it's so creepy. Ugh. right? Just straight up haters, you know? And then probably he'll come up with good rationalizations of little things that he focuses on that might be true, and he blows them out of proportion, all right? That's how people are, right? If you're going to hate on somebody, you'll find stuff that is true about them, and then you'll blow it up out of proportion in your mind, and you'll make a belief set out of it. So, one of the biggest games that your mind plays is reordering perception to preserve the map. Your mind does not want you to get high status. Look, why does if a wolf's not the alpha wolf, why does he stay in the pack?
Because it's pretty good being the beta male, too. I mean...
Do you say... Yeah, as long as you get fed, right? Yeah. As long as you stay alive, you're good. You don't have... And look, less expenditure of energy. Guess what, guys? Becoming like this new guy who has experienced deep identity level change, to get there is an expenditure of energy, isn't it? You know? You guys heard of, like, the peacock? And how the peacock basically shows these like bright feathers and stuff, which is, it's actually an expenditure of energy, but it's showing the health and vitality. Well, being that outgoing guy, you know, gregarious and stuff like that, there is energy that's being expended. In fact, if you want to get really specific, you want to get kind of really interesting, this is like, we're getting kind of advanced here, but really interesting. If you have a provider male social strategy, right? Like your unconscious mind has recognized, look, the best thing for me to do is just kind of work hard and then I can just meet girls like that. When you're out at a social setting, you'll feel like it's a waste of your time. Like your instincts are telling you, don't worry about this. Just go home and work and then you can meet a girl that way. Just don't worry about it. Like your instincts are actually telling you that. It's like this is a wasteful expenditure of energy. Sure. You want to get even more advanced? Would you guys like to do that? Oh, yeah. All right. I have a theory. This is one of those theories I've never articulated before because I think it sounds so stupid. But it's one of those beliefs that I've kind of never said, but I do believe it. So I'll just be authentic. I think that there's two different types of guys that get laid a lot. Have you guys ever heard the expression, the leader of men? Sure. Yeah. I think there's two types that get laid a lot. I think one is the leader of men. I think the other, I would almost call it the wandering nomad. All right? No one's going to find out. You know? Yeah, exactly. I really believe it. Okay, look. Maybe this theory is totally accurate or maybe it's totally bunk, but at least the application of it could have some validity in your life, so I'll explain it. The leader of men in the caveman tribe would have been the guy who kind of just like, you know, he goes out, he kills the animals, he's a dominant guy there, and he probably has a harem. But I really believe this, that there was probably like wandering cavemen that were actually not leaders of men. They had alpha male characteristics, but they just kind of wandered around on their own, and they'd sort of like come into like a pack, and he'd wind up, you know, hooking up with a couple girls in there. And what that would do, this is just a theory I have, is it would bring a new set of genetics into the small little group, right? Because I'll tell you why I think this. Yeah, whenever you know what I'm talking about, right? Whenever you're traveling, you get this vibe. You know what I'm saying? When you're traveling all around the world, you get this vibe, and girls just want to hook up. Like, I mean, yeah, you know, it's like, and I've seen it with RSD instructors. They'll come back from doing a tour, and they are just killing it, right? It is incredible. And on one level, you know, you could size that up to like, for example, you know how like if a British person comes to America, are there any British people here in this audience? Yeah. Okay. Do girls like your accent at all? Yeah. Like, are they like, do they think it's okay, or do they go into trance?
They go into a trance.
They go into a trance. All right. As an American or Canadian, you get that to an extent when you go to Australia. Not as much as an Australian guy will get it here, but you do get to take a little bit of sweet revenge when you go down to Australia. All right? Okay. So, a little bit. Not as much as they get. Anyway, there's something about like that different gene pool, right? And like bringing new genes in the tribe. I think women just respond to that. And even if you're not like the leader of men, there is that sort of thing. And I also think that when you have become a leader of men, the temptation can be to stop being the nomad. All right? Like, when you've achieved a certain level of status in life, and you're providing an incredible amount of value for the people around you, and women can see that, you know, like say that you bring a woman into your work and she sees that everybody respects you and everybody admires you and you make people feel good and they're happy. Well, of course, you know, women are going to respond to that, right? But when you do that, you kind of feel like you're above the game now. Like cold approaching is just so silly and so stupid because you've got your whole thing with women on lockdown now. Likewise, when you're like the wandering nomad, you kind of feel like all that leader of men stuff is just so unnecessary, you know? Just roll out, man, you know, grab your motorcycle or whatever, you know, like the stereotype, roll out in your motorcycle, or in real life, just, you know, fly around and catch buses or whatever and taxis. But the point is, you just travel around and you wind up hooking up with girls, including a lot of girls that might be with that leader of men. So the thing is, I think that there's two different types, all right? I think that that's sort of a sub-level, all right? So that's sort of a side tangent before we wrap this section. Who knows if it's